Welcome, everyone, to What to Watch Live, the show where we discuss the best in TV and entertainment this week. My name is David, and today I'm joined by my fellow Xfinity editors, Liz and Scott. Hello.
Hey.
Hi.
Hi. Thanks for doing this today.
Yeah, thanks for having us today.
Yeah, I didn't have anything else planned. So
Right.
why not?
So last minute. I'm glad I was open.
Yeah. Well, and thank you to everyone out there watching and joining us across Xfinity platforms or on the 24/7 What to Watch channel on Zumo. We're so thankful that you're here. And as always, we got a good one for you. On today's show, we kick off Black History Month with a free preview of networks that showcase Black TV and film. We'll find some serenity now with our favorite ambient entertainment. We'll be joined by the Emmy-nominated star of AMC's new series Mayfair Witches, Alexandra Daddario. We'll reveal our picks for the 5 best shows you should have watched in January. And as always, we'll help you organize your TV watch list for the week ahead. So let's kick things off with a look at 8 networks you can enjoy for free this week in the segment called Free. Xfinity's Free This Week program continues with a free preview of networks that celebrate the best in Black TV and cinema. And here to tell us more about those networks, as well as everything you need to know about Xfinity's Black History Month collection, is our very own Black Experience editor, Kayla. Kayla, take it away.
Hi, everybody. I cannot believe it's that time of the year again already. We have got something special for you all this Black History Month. And although I'd love to take credit for creating this collection, I cannot. I was out on maternity leave and my team crafted an ultimate experience for the whole family to enjoy. This year for Black History Month, we are celebrating civil rights activists from the past and the present. We're paying homage to activist trailblazers like Harriet Tubman, Thurgood Marshall, Frederick Douglass, and more. The collection will also explore a new generation of activists like Ava DuVernay, Amanda Stenberg, Brian Stevenson, and a few more folks. And if that isn't enough, you can also dive in to historical documentaries that spark conversations and movies and shows with beautiful teaching moments. Just say Black History Month into your X1 voice remote. Back to you, David.
Thanks, Kayla. It's also worth noting some of the other great titles that you'll be able to enjoy free from HBO Max, including movies like Elvis, Barbarian, DC League of Super Pets, Black Adam, and The Hitman's Wife's Bodyguard. A lot. As well as TV shows like The Last of Us, His Dark Materials, The White Lotus, House of the Dragon, and Succession. And as a reminder, Xfinity's Free This Week program offers a new selection of free content from streaming services and premium networks every week of the year with no strings attached. Just say free or free this week into your remote to check it out. Next up, it's time to set the mood in a segment we call Hidden Gems. We've all been there. You're hanging out at home, doing some work, doing some chores, or maybe just relaxing, and all you want is a little ambient entertainment to fill the auditory void. Well, the 3 of us sat down and picked out the perfect shows for a living room chill, and I think I will kick things off with the highly anticipated new BBC America series, Frozen Planet 2. This sequel to the massively popular 2011 docuseries Frozen Planet, this 6-part series, which just premiered on January 28th, explores the wildlife found in the world's coldest regions, including polar bears, penguins, snow monkeys, Siberian tigers, and so many more. And I think what makes this one the perfect ambient TV series is obviously the beautiful narration, once again, by Sir David Attenborough. I can personally attest to how great the Frozen Planet series is for this ambient purpose, because I rarely get sick, like really, really sick. And I get sick so rarely that I remember the times that I was absolutely knocked out. And one of those times was in 2011 when I got hammered by some sort of stomach flu or bug or something. And the show I put on to help ease my mind as I laid in bed was the original Frozen Planet. And it was just I was so soothed by David Attenborough's beautiful British voice. But for that specific purpose, there was something about the cold, cool imagery that was just so refreshing as I laid there with this fever. I was like, yes, just cool me with your polar bear wintry animals. And it was the perfect show then. And I think, like, even if you don't have the flu, I think people will find it really comforting to put on in the background if they're hanging out. I don't know if either of you are fans of these, like, Planet Earth docuseries, but anything where David Attenborough's talking about an animal is pretty awesome.
Can't go wrong, honestly. Yeah. Was it really 2011? That seems so long between, sequels. It's just crazy.
Yeah. Well, it took like 4 years alone to film this sequel. So they needed 4 years just to get the new footage.
Could you imagine having to edit down all of that footage? 4 years worth of footage? It's just insanity. I'm sure the production team here is having just imagining that.
Yeah, plus like picking the most adorable shot of a penguin must be like, look at that face! Look at that face! That seal!
The seal getting hit by the wave is really that one right there. Boom! Yeah, legend.
I
mean, when you get that shot, you've got it. But like, which penguin jumping into the water is going to be the best shot? You would go mad as an editor.
Yeah, I love it. I love it.
Liz, what is your pick for the perfect ambient show?
Well, coincidentally, it's actually something very similar, except not necessarily Frozen. And I don't have a great backstory like you do, David, on how I happened to come across my favorite show, Earth Odyssey, with Dylan Dreyer. And so the reason I chose this one is, as I mentioned before, happened by accident. I think I was drinking coffee in my kitchen on a Saturday when my kids are still asleep and the house is quiet and I'm not really paying attention. And I noticed that I was hearing Dylan Dreyer's voice in the background. I guess the news must have finished and I just never changed the channel. And no offense, Dylan Dreyer. I mean, maybe I would have chosen this if I, knew how exciting this was, but it kind of happened by accident. And I'm so happy that it did because I started to look forward to it on Saturday mornings when, the house is quiet and I'm having my coffee and I would sit there. I mean, look how cute this is as well. I mean, not the frozen tundra of your pick, David, but I mean, she goes all over the planet as well, and she's a meteorologist, which I thought was interesting, and talking about the animals and the planets and how they affect one another. So I love this show. Still watch it when it's on, when I happen to have a free moment on Saturday mornings.
Why does the bear have Mickey Mouse ears?
I know. I love it.
Weirdest looking bear.
Look how cute.
There we go.
You learn something. This is what I love too, right? You have these little like snippets on there where she is narrating, but she's also giving you, a lesson of sorts the whole time.
Bear needs to cut its nails.
Yes, it does.
So
they
cute.
can just rock up to the salon, David. They have to find a stone to do that on.
Imagine.
And sit there and like
there.
Or a tree.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Looking for some termites or something. And now all I want to do is watch this video of this bear. It's funny. I always think of Dylan Dreyer because of things she did on the Today Show where she was totally obsessed with Zac Efron. And he surprised her on the show and she was just like totally beside herself. She's a lot of fun.
She is a lot of fun and not related to Earth Odyssey, but she also does some cooking segments with her son now. And always, I think she always comes at it from a place of trying to teach people different things. And so it's so cute to see her son learning her oldest son, actually, she's 3 now, but teaching him how to cook and recording that for everybody on her Instagram. Super cute.
This dumb bird. We bring the bear back.
He wants that harpy eagle.
Harpy
It's a
eagle.
harpy eagle.
Yeah.
Yeah, he looks like he's gonna harp on you. Where's my worms? Where's my worms? Did you bring my worms? I'm hungry for worms.
Somebody say worm.
Such a harpy. Did you? No, the monkey's okay. All right, I could just watch this forever. Scott, what is your pick? I can't wait to see what you've got.
Yeah, mine's a little different. If you've been to my house during a gathering, you will probably be familiar with it, even if you don't know the name of it. Let's go ahead and throw to Off the Air. So yes, there are animals involved sometimes, but in unique ways. And I'm also, before we get too deep into this, I would like to state for the record that no animals were harmed in the making of this video. But look at that, this treacherous sheep and that panda who's clearly got up to no good. He's got some. This show is just ridiculous. It kind of takes me back to.
Okay.
Oh no!
I wasn't expecting that at all. This is distracting. I wouldn't get anything done.
I'm sorry. This is great. So imagine you're at a house party, just having cocktails, and then this is on the television behind you. It's just, it is very difficult to stay focused. And that's kind of the fun of it. It keeps people engaged in a way that's like, I don't know, on a surface level, so you can talk about it, but then, your eye just keeps kind of throwing back. It's cool. And this is like Swedish Jesus who's coming in to save the animals, riding on his monk strap shoe. Yes, it's an actual shoe.
Oh, I thought that was an animal I didn't know about. Like, what is going on? I'm stealing this, Scott.
Is this a whole show? Are there multiple episodes?
Yeah, so every episode is based around a theme. This particular theme is fashion. And yeah, it's wild, but there are episodes about water. There's episodes about heat, animals, hair, all types of stuff. But yeah, this is where Swedish Jesus gets some revenge on the people who are hurting the animals. And
all while being stylish.
Exactly.
I'm assuming that's where the fashion comes in.
Exactly. Naturally. Wow. I mean,
what's the music like, or the audio like?
The audio is fantastic. So it's a mix of like electronic music and a couple of other, different styles of music. It really all depends on the episode, but it's all current music, and it's perfectly timed to these like they're almost like visualizers. And that's sort of what it takes me back to, is like, I don't know if you had Winamp back in the day, but I did. And you could download some really cool, like unique visualizers. I remember having, this is like really going back, I had some like girl that was in a like Santa Claus outfit who used to dance around to the music that you had on, but you could like just do some really obscure random stuff rather than the standard like flashing lights or like whatever that came with Winamp. So this is sort of like that. There's just a lot of really random footage that has been artfully put together, in my opinion, to just, create some fun backgrounds.
And you can watch Off the Air on HBO Max and on Adult Swim. And you can check out all the shows we just talked about and so many more by simply saying what to watch into your voice remote. Next up, Mondays are a witch, but we've got the antidote in the latest edition of Hangouts and Extras. AMC recently debuted the brand new supernatural thriller Mayfair Witches, which is the network's second show based on the novels of Anne Rice, following last year's smash hit adaptation of Interview with the Vampire. Our very own Scott sat down with the star of Mayfair Witches, Emmy-nominated actress Alexandra Daddario, for a brand new episode of Xfinity Hangouts. Scott, tell us more about it.
Yeah, totally. So Alex, as I now call her because we're best friends. She was super lovely. And, you kind of teed me up for this one. You let me know what to expect. I know you have a little bit of a crush on Alex. Is that right? Do you want to get that out now, David, just so she knows? I'm sure she'll be watching this.
I'm sure. Well, yeah. I mean, I've interviewed her before, way back for the Texas Chainsaw Massacre movie that she did. And she's just a lovely human being. And as an example of how nice she is, I had a pet rabbit at the time, and she also had a pet rabbit. It was her family's pet rabbit. And my bunny had a Twitter or Instagram account, Twitter, I believe. And after the interview, Alex followed my bunny on Twitter, and would even we exchanged a message here or there about rabbits afterwards. So she's just the sweetest person.
Oh, sounds like it was meant to be.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, maybe she'll reach out to you after this show. Who knows?
Well, now she's engaged, so I think that's off the table.
But your rabbit's still available, right? Her rabbit might be available. You could have
my rabbit's not available. My rabbit's dead. You know that, but whatever.
Oh, well, she's a witch now. She could probably bring it back to life.
Fingers crossed.
So oddly enough, we did talk about pets in this. We talked about her dog, Unipie, who is absolutely adorable and all over her Instagram. But we talked about all types of things like witches, obviously, witch, wish, bish, as we go and, into that. And then, just the fear of women and yachting life, all the stuff that I normally talk about in an interview. So yeah, let's throw it to a clip and take a look.
Use the power that's rightly yours.
Are you frightened of you?
Shouldn't I be?
He serves you, not the other way around.
You know you're special, don't you? Can you feel it?
I'm so chuffed to talk to you about Mayfair Witches. There used to be a time when someone said witch and your mind sort of went to this green face, pointy nose, hat, all black. But nowadays it's a very different vibe. It's usually a gorgeous young actress, much like yourself, sort of dressed in this anthropology vibes thing going on. When do you think that shift happened?
Well, I think that the definition of witch has always been, it's something that's been around for a very long time. And, in this country, different countries, it's something that has taken on many different incarnations. And it's, of course, we have the Halloween costume and we have Wicked and we have those kinds of sort of pop culture sort of ideas of what a witch looks like. But the really scary witches and the witches that people were really afraid of, although it was made up, obviously, but this idea of you didn't really know who it was. You knew that something bad was happening and you had to blame someone. And there's so much fear associated with the supernatural. And that's what these types of witches are, people that you're afraid of and you don't really know what they're doing or why, but strange things happen, but they appear to be normal like the rest of us.
Absolutely. Do you think any of that has to do with, men being afraid of women with power? And do you think that part of the reason why it's changed in terms of the way that they're portrayed is because, more powerful women are behind the screen and have more control of the way that, these stories are being told?
Well, I do. I think it's a metaphor for when you're afraid of powerful women or you're afraid of things and you're looking for someone to blame. Like during the Salem witch trials, the majority, there were men, but the majority of people who were blamed or accused of being witches were women. And of course, I do think that there's a sense of fear of women gaining power behind that. So it's certainly a metaphor for the fear of women with power.
Ooh, it's just
Wow.
the best.
I think I might be a witch.
Ah.
No, I'm kidding.
Wow, watch out.
I'm
Okay.
kidding.
Are you a good witch or a bad witch?
Oh, definitely bad if you ask my family, for sure.
Okay, I'm kind of here for that.
I guess it depends on the day. Did we just hit you on one of those days lists?
It's not such a great secret anymore. Apparently it's out. Yeah, I haven't done a good job of hiding it.
Well, Mayfair Witches airs every Sunday night at 9 p.m. Eastern on AMC, but you can check out new episodes 3 days early every Thursday with a subscription to AMC Plus. Just say AMC Plus into your voice remote for more info. And if you want to watch Scott's entire interview with Alex, just say Hangouts into your remote and you'll be able to see all of our Hangouts, actually, including my latest interview with the cast of The Last of Us, and Liz's interview with Wednesday star Jenna Ortega. And speaking of my interview with The Last of Us cast, Scott and I recently had the opportunity to attend an immersive screening of the first episode of The Last of Us in New York City, where HBO had recreated one of the Fedra quarantine zones from the show, and we suddenly became members of the Firefly Resistance. This means nothing to you if you haven't played the games or watched the show, but hopefully you'll be excited about it, and we brought back some footage from the event, so let's take a look.
Fireflies. Countdown for 5. 4, 3, 2. All right, he's okay. Guys, come over here, bud. Come over here. Okay. I have him in. All right, you're clean. Welcome to the Fireflies. Okay.
Yes, there are Firefly bases in Philadelphia. Yes, 2 of them. One in South Philly and one in Fishtown. All right. Where is Philly? There we go.
I look like an absolute crazy person in that photo. I'm also wearing the same shirt that I was wearing then.
I love that you explained what you were doing in that photo, though, because
So they gave out popcorn boxes that were Fedra rations, like food rations. And when you were walking through, they were like, do you need some rations? They're like, protect this because it's all you're getting. And so like in that photo, I was protecting my rations and Scott's posing like a model and I'm really selling the experience.
If it's the end of the world, I'm going to go out looking good.
Perfect.
That's right.
Well, thank you to HBO for having us. The Last of Us airs every Sunday on HBO. Just say HBO Max into your voice remote. There's a few episodes out now, and it is great. And we're going to talk about it a little bit later, actually right now, because before we put January to rest, let's look back at the best of the best. I did some rhyming in a segment called Ultimate Deep Dive. It's the second to last day of January, and we hope you all found some amazing entertainment to kick off your 2023. But just in case you didn't for some reason, or in case some great shows slipped through the cracks, we thought we'd take a look back at the 5 best, most original, most must-see TV shows that debuted in the last month. And we will kick things off with a hidden little gem called Koala Man on Hulu.
I think you mean Koala Man?
Koala Man? Koala Man. This animated comedy from the creator of Adult Swim's Smiling Friends and YOLO, Crystal Fantasy, takes place in the alternate universe where Australia is the world's most powerful country And Nicole Kidman is its queen. And within this version of Australia prowls a fearless vigilante with no superpowers. And he goes by the name of Koala Man.
Koala Man.
Koala Man. The series features the voices of Hugh Jackman, Sarah Snook, Jermaine Clement, and Hugo Weaving, among others. Scott, I know you've been watching this show. What's your take?
I love Koala Man. It's fantastic. It very much in the same kind of vein as Smiling Friends, if not as, it's definitely not as crazy. It's a little bit more linear in its storytelling, which, you know, you kind of love, pick up and jump in, and you can actually stick around for it, which is great. All of the episodes were available on release, which is fun because I could just dive. I literally finished this in one day, which I'm not ashamed about because I enjoyed it that much. It's great. I mean, I've spent some time in Australia, and so a lot of the references I really, really enjoyed, but it is like definitely, it leans into, I don't know, I don't say nationalism a little bit, but there are some things that they talk about that are so specific to Australia that maybe some American audience wouldn't get it, but I think it's worth watching because then maybe it'll cause you to actually go and Google things and learn a little bit more about it and just how ridiculous it is. So yeah, definitely worth a look. I'm a big fan. The big villain is a Kookaburra Man, which is just wild, just a silly bird. This story is crazy. The first episode is probably not the best. So if you didn't love it, then stick with it because trust me, it gets increasingly weird as it goes on, but in the best way. Very much, like I said, Smiling Friends and sort of Rick and Morty vibes to it. So definitely, cannot recommend enough in terms of like weird hidden gems. If you're a fan of adult animation, definitely give this one a look.
Cool. I'm on board.
Liz, are you obsessed with it?
No.
And
Sorry.
can you say the name for me?
Koala Man.
That was good.
That was really good. Yeah,
that was really good. It was understated. It was understated, but just like perfect.
It's perfect. We're all gonna go for a walkabout after this. Yeah, it's gonna be great.
Number 4 on our list is Godfather of Harlem on MGM Plus. If you haven't watched Godfather of Harlem yet, why not? This extremely popular series on MGM Plus, formerly known as Epic, is now in its 3rd season and recounts the true story of Harlem-based mob boss Bumpy Johnson, played by Forrest Whitaker. The series co-stars Nigel Thatch as Malcolm X, Giancarlo Esposito as Congressman Adam Clayton Powell Jr., and Vincent D'Onofrio as the Genovese crime family leader Vincent Gigante. In terms of talented casts that bring everything to their performances, there are few shows on TV right now that are better than Godfather of Harlem. It's just a powerhouse cast, and they're just really good. I don't know if either of you watched this.
I do not. No,
I don't. No, same. Sorry, but like I'm keeping a list of these top 5. I obviously live under a rock because I'm a witch.
This is it. This is exactly why we're doing this. We're just stealing everything that's out there for you down to 5 titles that you absolutely should at least give a try. And clearly, I missed the boat on this one, so something I need to take a look at.
Yeah, it's really, and it's interesting. It's one of those shows where when you watch it, you inevitably pause it along the way to quickly Google some of the people and some of the events to be like, did this really happen? Who was this person? What's their story? And I kind of love shows like that. And this was something that I did. I interviewed the cast back like 3 years ago for an episode of Hangouts that never got produced. It's one of the lost episodes, but I watched a bunch of episodes and interviewed all of them, and I was just so fascinated by the true story, and I think you will be too.
That's the second reference to Googling something from watching a show. We're really giving you the full entertainment 360 experience here. You know, we want you just really deep diving into things. So there you go.
I also found it really interesting, and the second production that I'm like getting ahead of myself. Nigel Thatch has played Malcolm X in multiple projects because he looks so much like him and has just like the like cadence of his speaking down so perfectly that he was cast in a previous show or movie as Malcolm X and also plays him in Godfather of Harlem. And I just think it's like so cool that an actor has like found a way to embody someone so perfectly that they're playing the character across projects. So check it out.
That is cool.
Number 3 on the list, I'm not even going to say much about it. It is RuPaul's Drag Race on MTV. Scott, as our resident Drag Race expert, I feel like you should tell us why this show and this season, which just moved to MTV, are worth watching.
Yes, honey. RuPaul's Drag Race, it's a staple in the queer community. It's one of those shows that we look forward to. We throw parties around. We have nightclub events. There, you can go to any gay bar on a Friday night, and there is usually a viewing party that is hosted by a local drag queen, and everyone is just there with mouths agape watching as everything's happening on the show. It takes me back to a simpler time, you know. This has been going on for years, like since the very first season. I mean, I just remember being like in different bars all over the world and this was happening. So yeah, RuPaul's Drag Race. It's one of those formats that you would think people would be tired of it by now, but RuPaul is constantly shaking things up and bringing in fresh queens with new perspectives, and we're very much here for it. This year, it's the first ever set of twins that are competing in the competition. So you have Sugar and Spice, both gay, they're gay brothers, twin brothers who are performing, and that's the queens that are the most talked about, or this Twitter chatter or Instagram things that people are talking about, whatever the kids say these days. David, you're probably more versed in the social world. I'm sure you've heard of them. They're it's insane. They're so fun, and they're TikTok stars, these two, and they really bring something completely different from a lot of these other queens, because I don't know, you have these queens that come in previous seasons that are more Instagram. It's like very, I guess, photo focused. So it's all about looking pretty, but maybe not necessarily performing. Whereas I think TikTok, it's a different element. You know, you have to sort of dance and do things and TikTok challenges. But imagine doing that dressed up in several pounds of makeup and wigs and padding and heels and all of that. It just seems like a lot. But yeah, for no surprise, they're bringing a lot of fun and attention to it. And the move to MTV certainly shook things up as well. People, even though it's all owned by Viacom, ultimately it's moved from Logo to VH1 to Paramount Plus, and then also to MTV. I think it's just finding its footing, and I think it found a really good spot here. It just makes sense. And I love this show so much. And I can't wait to go watch a new episode and see what's happening.
Liz, you're a fan?
I love it too.
Yay!
Yeah, you know what? Oh my gosh, yes. And I love how mainstream it has gotten, right? So I have seen all over my Instagram and know of people just who are not within the gay community attending, like going to bars that are drag and having such a good time. I just love that. I'm huge ally and love so many people within the community, have been to gay weddings and where they had performers like in drag, which is like, oh my God, it's so amazing. It's so awesome to see them in person. And I absolutely just love this show and love RuPaul. So yeah, I'll be watching for sure.
Yeah, a wedding isn't a wedding if you don't have a drag queen there. I mean, just throwing that out there.
Exactly.
It really just brings a whole nother level. I had Manila Luzon perform at my wedding in Philadelphia. This is, God, many years ago. But I just remember being worried about how it would land with some of my family. And then sure enough, it was like one of my uncles that was just like, who I was worried about, was like following around the drag queen, just trying to like talk to her and like find out more about it. It just goes to show you, drag just brings the world together. So yeah, if you're not watching Drag Race, you're missing out, because it's just going to make the world a better place.
Agreed.
And yeah, before we move on quickly, going back to Godfather of Harlem, Nigel Thatch played Malcolm X in the Oscar-winning movie Selma. Yeah.
Throwback.
It was going to bother me if I didn't figure it out. So also love Drag Race 100%, but I've not watched the new season, but I was very curious to see how Ariana Grande did on it. So I am going to catch up because I want to see her episode.
David is also a phenomenal ally, even though I've said the opposite on many of these shows jokingly.
Thanks for clearing that up.
So if you stuck around.
I've been skewered.
Get your card back.
It's the truth. Number 2 on the list is the show Your Honor on Showtime.
Okay. Before we get into this, can we just, any thoughts on what's happening to Bryan Cranston in this photo that he's making that face?
He just bit into a lemon, or he's had way too much dairy, I think. One of the two.
Relatable.
He didn't take his Lactaid before enjoying that McFlurry.
Oh, man.
This very puckered-looking Bryan Cranston stars in the popular drama as a prominent New Orleans judge who finds himself in a war against the mob after his son becomes involved in an accidental hit-and-run collision with the son of a dangerous kingpin.
Also relatable.
So, of course.
We've all been there.
Your Honor was actually adapted from a 2017 Israeli show and was originally only intended to be a limited series, but it was so popular that it was renewed for a second and final season, allegedly, which just premiered about 2 weeks ago. And our friend and colleague Quam actually interviewed Bryan Cranston for an episode of Hangouts recently, and we're going to have a sneak peek of that for you on next week's episode of What to Watch Live, so you can check that out. Have either of you watched this?
I have not, but I did not know that it was based on an Israeli show. Wasn't Euphoria also based on an Israeli show? We're just stealing all types of stuff from Israel. Like,
it's true. And the title is the same, but in, of course, another language.
Okay.
But
Israeli.
Yes.
Maybe.
It might be. Yeah.
We're out of control today,
yeah.
guys.
Let's go to number 1. Number 1 is The Last of Us on HBO Max. Big surprise.
Where have I heard of this before? I feel
know.
like I've heard
It's so
of this
good,
one.
honestly. Just so good.
Last week on What to Watch Live, we gave you a sneak peek at my interview with the cast of Last of Us. Of course, you just saw Scott and I having our adventure in the quarantine zone in New York, and I ranted and raved about it. It's a can't miss. It's based on the massively popular video game series of the same name and follows the survivors of a global pandemic that has turned humans into fungus-infected zombies. Primarily, the show focuses on a smuggler named Joel, played by Pedro Pascal, and his unlikely partner in crime, a young girl named Ellie, who may be the key to saving the world. Everyone has heard me sing the praises of the show, but Scott, you've seen it. What's your review?
It's fantastic. I purposely brought along a friend to the screening that was obsessed with this game, like on a whole different level from anyone that I know. He played it incessantly, and he went as far as to break out his guitar and learn how to play "Take on Me" on the guitar because of Ellie. And so he seemed like the perfect person to bring to this screening, and the rave review that he gave after this and how excited he was for how similar it was to the game and all of the callbacks, all of the sort of Easter eggs. It's perfect. But as somebody who's only actually just watched someone play this game and hasn't actually played it through, I kind of went in with a fresh set of eyes, so I'm not as as familiar with the source material. It was absolutely fantastic. I cannot say enough about this show. It is just a really fun watch. It is a little too close to home in terms of pandemic and stuff and things that are happening, which is, I guess, a good thing and a bad thing. It is it's not too close in that you don't want to see it. It's not too on the nose in terms of like everything that's happening, but it is close enough that it feels like it could be real. So you're invested in these characters and how well developed they are, and just the setting. It's really awesome. And David, I can't wait to watch episode 3, which I think you likely have talked about in the previous show. But I just can't. Yeah, I'm so excited. Gay love. Ooh.
Yeah, it actually just aired last night. So if you haven't all caught up, like watch episode, just trust me. Like, I mean, I think you're going to be hooked on episode 1, but I've said it in the past on the show. I think that episode 3 is one of the best hours of television I've seen in a long time, probably ever. So that aired last night. If you haven't caught it yet, check it out. It's excellent. Liz, did you watch it, or are you?
I haven't at all. And I was just going to ask for someone who doesn't, watch or know the game at all. I know, Scott, you just mentioned like you went in with fresh eyes. Is someone with no experience with the game at all, is this something that we could still get into?
100%. Yes.
Yeah.
I just, the performances, the everything, like the whole, like, it is such a strong, like, I don't like the source material is so strong that it could very easily have not been a video game. It could have just been a series on its own. And so the fact that they're keeping it very true to that, but also not like hitting you over the head with the fact that it's a video game, it really caters to everyone. So definitely something that you should be checking out.
Yeah.
For sure.
I brought my sister to the screening who has no knowledge of any of this, and she loved it so much that she then watched the premiere a second time and then has continued to watch it the last couple of weeks. And yeah, she knows nothing about the games. And I think probably the fact that it's a video game adaptation is maybe like the biggest hurdle this show faces, because they're so notoriously bad whenever video games are adapted. And I think it could potentially turn people off, but it really is like important to note that that it's worth sticking around for, because it's so much more. And as Scott said, like the pedigree is really good. The man who created the video game and these characters is involved in writing, along with Craig Mazin, who created and wrote Chernobyl, and he's just a masterful storyteller. So you have someone to like keep it true to the source material, but also someone who knows how to write a good story that transcends the source material. And I think it's like a perfect combination. I like can't recommend it enough.
Yeah.
Well, I'm excited. Was that Gordon Ramsay's daughter?
No, it's not.
Okay. My daughter asked me that. So
really?
she saw the previews for this. She said, "Mom, is this Gordon Ramsay's daughter?" And I wish I would have Googled, as you mentioned. And I said, you know what? I'm going to ask my friends.
It's Bella Ramsey, who is best known for playing Lyanna Mormont in Game of Thrones. She was a breakout character and like didn't have a lot of screen time, but was like so notable for what she did. And of course, Pedro Pascal is the Mandalorian, and also Prince Oberyn on Game of Thrones. So there's a lot to love. And I saw something the other day, like Pedro Pascal's never been in a project, or maybe it was just TV show, that scored less than 97% on Rotten Tomatoes. Like,
wow,
he's just establishing himself as entertainment gold.
And let's just say it's awesome, and it does not star Gordon Ramsay's daughter. So
perfect.
Go out and watch.
Or it might. Who knows? You got to watch to find out.
Well, find out and check out the shows we just talked about, all 5 of them, and so much more by saying what to watch into your voice remote. Before we head out for the week, as always, we're here to help you organize your TV watch list in a segment called Plan Ahead. This week's biggest premieres include your next mystery series obsession, an interplanetary space thriller, and an all-new true crime docuseries. And Scott is here to tell us all about it. Scott?
Listen up, gumshoes, because there's a complicated mystery afoot in Freeform's upcoming series from Ryan Seacrest Productions. The Watchful Eye is a new thriller series following a young woman with a complicated past as she maneuvers her way into working as a live-in nanny for an affluent family in Manhattan. She quickly learns that everyone in the mysterious building has deadly secrets and ulterior motives, and they'll stop at nothing to ensure their skeletons stay buried. What they don't know, however, is that she has some shocking secrets of her own. The first 2 episodes of The Watchful Eye premiere on Monday, January 30th at 9 p.m. Eastern Time on Freeform, with episodes streaming next day on Hulu. On Wednesday, February 1st, your next otherworldly obsession crash lands on Sci-Fi. The Ark is the latest series from the executive producers of Independence Day and Stargate and takes place 100 years in the future when planetary colonization missions have begun as a necessity to help secure the survival of the human race. The first of these missions on a spacecraft known as Ark-1 encounters a catastrophic event, forcing the remaining crew to become the best versions of themselves to stay on course and survive. The Ark premieres on Wednesday, February 1st at 10 p.m. Eastern Time on Sci-Fi, with episodes streaming next day on Peacock. On Friday, February 3rd, the highly anticipated drama Dear Edward, based on the best-selling novel of the same name, makes its global premiere on Apple TV+. For those unfamiliar with the story, it follows a 12-year-old boy who survives a devastating commercial plane crash that kills every other passenger on the flight, including his own family. The series adaptation is a heartbreaking, life-affirming, and uplifting story about survival, resilience, connection, and the examination of what makes us human. The first 3 episodes of Dear Edward premiere on Friday, February 3rd on Apple TV+. Also on Friday, February 3rd, we have the return of Prime Video's breakout comedy series, Harlem. And Season 2, we pick back up with our group of stylish and ambitious girlfriends. After blowing up her career and disrupting her life, Camille has to figure out how to put the pieces back together. Ty considers her future, Quinn goes on a journey of self-discovery, and Angie's career takes a promising turn. Harlem premieres on Friday, February 3rd on Prime Video. On Sunday, February 5th, Showtime paints a powerful portrait of tribal members and their communities within Bighorn County, Montana, battling an epidemic of missing and murdered Indigenous women that has been prevalent since colonization. The 3-part docuseries examines the circumstances surrounding many of these cases, told solely through the perspectives of those involved. Murder in Bighorn premieres on Sunday, February 5th on Showtime. If you're a Showtime subscriber, you can watch all 3 episodes early on demand starting Friday, February 3rd.
There are also several exciting network-free previews next week as part of Xfinity's Free This Week program. Liz, do you want to give us a sneak peek at what's coming February 6th through the 12th?
Happy to, and thanks for mentioning it. So we are looking ahead at Free This Week, and we'll continue to celebrate Black History Month all month long, actually, but specifically from February 6th through the 12th. Our select partners, All Black, Quelly TV, Brown Sugar, and Black Sexy TV will have all of their on-demand titles available to everyone for free. Let me say it again for everybody in the back. All of their on-demand content will be available to all for free from February 6th, to the 12th. There are hundreds of titles to choose from. I'm so excited to take a look and pick something to watch. 2 titles that I'm most excited about are Michelle Obama, Life After the White House, which is on Brown Sugar, and Black Beauty Effect on our Black Experience channel, which, by the way, is always free. So you might want to check out, if you haven't already, the Black Experience channel. That's what's coming up, David.
Yeah, just say free or free this week in your remote, and you can actually look ahead and see what's coming even beyond that as far as free this week, and see what's available now. Very exciting. And that'll do it for today's show. It's all good. We did it.
We did it.
We did do it. Thanks to my fellow Xfinity editors, Liz and Scott, for joining me this week. Thanks to Kayla for stopping by to tell us about Black History Month. Special thanks to Mayfair Witches star Alexandra Daddario for joining us today. New episodes of Mayfair Witches air every Sunday on AMC, or 3 days early on Thursdays with AMC Plus. Shout out to our producers, Brad and Aaron, and everyone else behind the scenes for making the show run smoothly. If you want to check out the TV shows and movies we talked about today, get more of our TV recommendations, or watch us interview big celebrities, Just say what to watch into your voice remote, or tune in here every Monday at 4 p.m. Eastern for a new episode, or check us out across the country 24/7 on the Xfinity What to Watch channel on Zumo. My name is David. Thank you for watching What to Watch Live. Bye.